Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be explaining anastomosis. I'm sorry I couldn't include this in my past session, but it was a really long concept and I couldn't I don't think I could have covered it during my past session. So let's go ahead. Okay. So first of all, we have two anastomosis in the posterior thigh. Okay, so we have the cruciate and the longitudinal anastomosis. Okay. So let's start from the very beginning. Okay, we have the common iliac artery. Common iliac artery is going to bifurcate into internal iliac and external iliac artery. And this is so this is the external iliac artery. And this is the internal iliac artery. Okay. Now there is a demarcation, which is this, okay, where the where the external iliac artery becomes the femoral artery. What is this demarcation? This is the inguinal ligament. So this is the inguinal ligament. Okay. And this is the femoral artery. Now the femoral artery is going to give a posterior branch. This posterior branch is known as profunda femoris. Okay, so far we said we have the common iliac artery bifurcating into internal iliac artery as well as external iliac artery. External iliac artery, once it reaches the inguinal ligament, is going to change its name to femoral artery. Femoral artery is going to give a posterior branch. It's a big branch and it's very important. It's known as the profunda femoris. Okay, now what does the profunda femoris give? It's going to give two branches. It's going to give the lateral circumflex femoral artery and the medial circumflex femoral artery. So again, I'm going to write them down here so we know what artery make the cruciate anastomosis. So far we said from the profunda femoris we have the medial circumflex femoral artery and the lateral circumflex femoral artery. Here's the medial and here's the lateral. Okay. You don't need to know which one is which, I'm just pointing out. Okay, now the internal iliac artery is going to bifurcate into superior gluteal and inferior gluteal artery. So this is the inferior gluteal artery. Now, what does the inferior gluteal artery give? It's going to give a descending branch. That's going to join with these two. So the third artery that is important is going to be descending branch of inferior gluteal artery. So far we said profunda femoris is going to give the medial circumflex and the lateral circumflex. And then from the inferior gluteal, which is coming from the internal iliac, we're going to have the descending branch that's joining with the other three. Okay, the last branch is going to come also from profunda femoris. Now profunda femoris is going to have four perforating arteries. These arteries are called literally the perforating arteries. So we're going to have the first, second, third, fourth. Each of these artery is going to give ascending and descending branch. Okay, so the first is going to give its ascending branch and its descending branch. Same thing for the second, and same thing for the third and fourth. And lastly, fourth is going to give a descending branch, but there's nothing to articulate with. This is where the popliteal artery comes. So after in the popliteal fossa, let's say the popliteal fossa is here. So the femoral artery is going to be a continuation. Okay, it's going to keep continuing until it reaches the popliteal fossa. The popliteal fossa, what happens is that is going to give, the popliteal fossa, femoral artery will change into popliteal artery. The popliteal artery is going to give a branch which is known as the muscular branch, which is going to join with the fourth perforating artery. So as you can see, the first perforating artery is giving a branch, the ascending branch of the first perforating artery is going to be where? It's going to be joining with the cruciate anastomosis. So the last artery that makes our anastomosis is the first, or the ascending branch of first perforating artery. So again, to recap, the cruciate anastomosis, we have four arteries in this anastomosis. Okay, three arteries coming from profunda femoris. So the first one is the medial circumflex femoral artery, then lateral circumflex femoral artery, and then we have first perforate ascending branch of the first perforating artery coming from profunda femoris. And then we have from the inferior gluteal, which is coming from interior iliac, we're going to have the last branch, which is known as descending branch of inferior gluteal. Now, why is this important? This is important because whenever we have a blockage here, for example, what's going to happen is that the blood, instead of going like this, is going to go from here and go through the anastomosis and then go back through the profunda femoris, then go down here. So we have a collateral. This is the important keyword, circulation. Okay. So if you're asked why is anastomosis important, so you have a collateral circulation. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. I'm talking to myself right now, so I hope it makes sense. Okay, so there's something that I missed in the last slide. Okay, so that's we talked about the first anastomosis, which is cruciate. Okay, the second anastomosis is longitudinal. Longitudinal anastomosis is very simple. So all you need to know is the anastomosis between these four perforating arteries. So it's between the ascending, okay, so descending branch of the first with the ascending branch of second, and so on and so forth. And you get the point. It's just between the four perforating artery and the muscular branch of popliteal. Okay, so this is the muscular branch of popliteal. Okay, so if they ask you, for example, what makes up the longitudinal anastomosis in the back of the thigh, you would say the four perforating arteries, as well as the muscular branch of popliteal. And that's it. And there is nothing more to know about the back of the thigh. And now we're going to move on to the knee. Okay, so now moving on to the knee anastomosis. Okay, so first of all, the knee anastomosis is a bit tough. I want you guys to focus with me, but inshallah it's going to be easy. Okay, so this is the femoral artery. Okay, femoral artery. And then once it gets to the popliteal fossa, it becomes the popliteal artery. Okay, so popliteal artery. And here it is, popliteal artery going behind the knee in the popliteal fossa. Since we're looking in an anterior view, by the way, this is the medial side. Wait, let me label it here. Or actually, here, medial side. And this is the lateral side. Okay, so this is the popliteal artery going in the popliteal fossa. It's going to give two branches. It's going to give the posterior tibial artery and the anterior, where is it? It's going here, anterior tibial artery. Okay, so anterior tibial and posterior tibial. Okay, so general orientation again. So this is the femoral artery. In the popliteal fossa, it becomes the popliteal artery. Okay, and this is the popliteal artery. It's going to divide, okay, once it leaves the popliteal fossa into posterior tibial as well as anterior tibial artery. Okay, perfect. Now, the femoral artery is going to give the first branch, which is known as descending genicular branch. Okay, so we have descending genicular branch of femoral artery. Genicular. This is the first participating in the anastomosis. Okay, then we're gonna have the okay, so we're gonna have a descending branch here too. Okay, so this descending branch is coming from where? It's coming from lateral circumflex femoral artery. So descending branch of it. Okay, so descending branch of lateral circumflex femoral artery. And remember, lateral circumflex femoral artery was coming from profunda femoris, which is in the back of the thigh, coming from femoral artery, which is responsible for the, what's it called? The cruciate anastomosis. So this is the second branch. Okay, now the popliteal artery is going to give 5 branches. So what are these 5 branches? So it's going to be here. The popliteal artery is going to give a branch here, a branch here, a branch here, a branch here, and the branch here. Okay, so this branch is superior, this branch is inferior, and the same thing here. This branch is medial, this branch is lateral. Okay, so from the name, this is superior medial genicular artery. This is inferior medial genicular artery. This is superior lateral genicular artery. This is inferior lateral genicular artery, and this is middle genicular artery. Okay, so these are, okay, so now let's count. Okay, so this is the third, this is the fourth, this is the fifth, this is the sixth, and this is the seventh. Okay, now we have 3 more branches left. Okay, from the anterior tibial artery, we're going to get 2 branches. Okay, so we're going to have 2 branches. that will participate in the anastomosis. Okay, so I'm going to write them down here. So we're going to have anterior recurrent tibial artery and posterior recurrent tibial artery. And we have last one. Okay, so the last one is going to come from where? The last one is going to come from the posterior tibial artery. Okay, so it's going to be here. It's going to go around the fibula. Okay, so it's going to be known as the common fibular artery. So common fibular artery. Okay, so let's revise one more time. So we said from the femoral artery, we're going to get the descending genicular, and then from the lateral circumflex, we're going to get descending branch of the lateral circumflex. Okay, from the popliteal, we're going to get 5 branches. Okay, superior medial, inferior medial, superior lateral, inferior lateral, and middle genicular arteries. And then from the anterior tibial, we're going to have anterior recurrent tibial and posterior recurrent tibial. And from the posterior tibial, we're going to have common fibular artery. This might seem overwhelming, but if you go over them twice, I'm sure inshallah you're going to be able to get it. And I apologize again for not being able to do this in the past session, but I didn't want to make it tiring for you guys because it would be really long to make it. Both this with the ankle joint is going to be really tiring. So I hope you benefit from this. And if you have anything regarding anastomosis you want me to explain, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching this.